look at verse number 1, it says, Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that leddest us out, brought us in Israel. And the Lord said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel. Thou shalt be a captain over Israel. What a moment. This is a culmination of several years. David got anointed when he was 17 years old. Just about 17. We don't know that for sure, but he was a youth. He wasn't 18. He couldn't go to battle. He was under 18. Most think 16, 17 years old. At this time, he is now 37. He's a couple years younger than me. That's old, right? That's older than anybody else in this room. Nobody else in here is 37. So from 17 to 37, that is 20 years. It's a 20-year wait. It's a long time. I don't know who in here wants to wait something 20 years, you know. Your grandma says, hey, sent you a Christmas present. When's it going to come? Well, you know, I didn't pay for extra shipping. It's going to take a little while. But 20 years later, you get that thing. You're like, Grandma, what is wrong? You know, Grandma's dead. She's in heaven now. I mean, that took a really, really long, long time. And yet David was willing to wait. He did not try and make himself king. The people came to him. They came to Hebron and said, where's David? There he is. Man, we've been looking for you. We want you to be king. They said, we remember the good old days when Saul was king. Not so much that part, but you are the one that led us. When we went into battle, you were the first one. When we came home, you were the first one. You were there playing the harp. You were a mighty warrior. Like, you are the man. We want for you to be our king. And by the way, David, we always wanted you to be king. You were our first choice, man. We've always loved you. Yeah, this is such a great moment. It's a great moment because they came to him, and now what he's been waiting for, what he was promised, is finally coming true. He's king not just of Judah, he's king of the whole country. And this is something that was promised to him when he was 17, and he waited 20 years for it. And because he waited, he didn't go to battle for it. He didn't cause a civil war for it. They came to him, and they asked him, hey, would you be king over us? You know, we don't like waiting. We do not like waiting, myself included. I don't like waiting. I want it now. And I think in today's generation, you really want it now. You're hungry right now. Let's go to Taco Bell and get some of that cancer meat, and it'll be ready in like 5 minutes, you know. Little Caesars already has the pizza ready. It's already ready. The biggest problem is getting their attention, you know, especially if you're in Grand Terrace. Those morons are back there talking. They don't come give you a pizza, right? But the food's already ready. We don't like waiting. Well, back in the old days, you're hungry. See that chicken over there? Go grab him. Go kill him. Go pluck his feathers. Chop off his head. Drain out the blood. Yeah, dinner will be ready in about 6 hours. You know, it took forever. And we do not like waiting at all. But waiting sometimes is something you have to do. David, anytime he wanted to, he could have went to battle and he could have dragged the nation after him and said, I'm the man. It's mine anyway. God promised it to me. I don't want to wait. I'm just taking what was promised to me. And that's how we are. We want to go out and we want to get it right now. We don't want to wait. We want to do it our way because it's our right. I'm 17. I'm 18. And I want to go do it now. I'm 13, I'm 14. I know what I'm doing. I'm taking Algebra 2. I know what I'm doing, you know. And I don't want to wait. I want it right now. I want to have what's coming to me now. I want to move out now. I want to have a boyfriend now. I want to have a car now. I want to have a job now. Some of you are like, no, I don't want a job. Your parents are like, please get a job. Man, you're 25, get a job, right? No, but we don't want to wait, right? We don't want to wait. Those of you that have been with me for a while, you've heard me say this so many times, so I don't want to always be repeating myself. Pastor, get some new material. But the fact is, the devil and God many times will offer similar things. The difference is the devil offers it right now. And God says, it's yours, but you got to wait a little bit if you want to do it the right way. If you want to do it the right way, you have to wait a little bit. You remember when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness? He fasted 40 days, and then he met the devil. By the way, I've said this many times, Jesus was ready for that moment. He was ready to meet the devil head on. He was prepared for that moment. How many times has something happened to us, and we're not ready? We're caught off guard. We get knocked on our butts because we were not ready for the moment. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know that was going to happen. Oh, but when you're ready for something, When you've been studying for that test, we got some people in here, finals coming up. When you're ready for that test, man, you're excited about it. Like, whoop, give me that test. I've been studying. But when you haven't been studying, like, dear Lord, please help me pass this test that I didn't study for. Please give me all the answers that I didn't even work for. God, will you please do that for me? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. God might just laugh at you and be like, that's what you get. Next time, try working. But when we're ready for moments, that's a good thing. Jesus was ready for the moment. And one of the things the devil tempted him with, if you remember this, he showed him all the kingdoms of the earth, right? Showed him Rome. He showed him what was left of Greece. Who knows what was going on here in North America and South America? Probably some great big Indian empires, right? Africa had this great kingdom in Mali at that time. He showed him all these things, and he said, if you bow to me, these will all be yours. Wait a minute. He's Jesus, right? He's the Son of God, isn't he? Who owned the kingdoms? Jesus did, right? Isn't God king of everything? The devil is offering Jesus something that already belongs to him. It just didn't belong to him right then. And the devil comes to you and says, hey, this looks pretty good, doesn't it? You can have it right now if you want it. And God says, I'm going to give that to you already. And you don't got to take it from the devil, but you got to wait a little bit. You're going to get that in 5 years. You're going to get that in 10 years. For David, it was, you're going to get that in 20 years. And most people, they take the devil's option. And they go, I want it now. I don't want to wait. I want it now. I want him now. I want her now. I want that car now. I want that money now. I want that high now. I want my freedom now. And they won't want to wait. And they'll do it the wrong way. But when you do it the right way, like David did, the people came to him and said, will you please be king for us? Guess what that is? 100% support. Everybody was for him. Civil war is over without a single battle. Why? Because he did it the right way. He waited on God's timing. Can I please beg you to wait on God's timing? What a beautiful moment this was. Such a beautiful moment. I just imagine David sat back and he took it in. You know why I take a lot of pictures? People are probably, pastor, I'm like the church photographer, right? Taking pictures and stuff like that. I live for those great moments. And you got to. You got to live for those great moments to take them in. Why? Because not every day is a great day. We had a great day on Sunday, man. I was excited. I posted about it. I recorded your videos. I made some of you guys Instagram famous. You're welcome. And there you are up there. You know, we got a video of Hannah playing the piano. I don't know if you saw that, Hannah. But, you know, and I was scanning the crowd. Ruby, like, stuck her head. She wanted to be in the video. And I love days like that. Why? Because we're going to have days where they're not like that. Where I'm like, where is everybody at? I got 12 people here. There's going to be days where my sermon kind of stinks, you know, and it's not a great day. But those days where God is there and it's blessed and everything goes maybe not perfect, but goes well, man, I live for those moments, those highs. And when you have those moments, grab a hold of those. Pay attention to those. Remember those good days. So that way when you have the bad days, you remember, hey, not every day is bad. Those good days really do happen. This was a great day for David, and he waited for it. Now, how did he get to this? Listen to these people. They come to him and say, hey, you're bone of us. You're blood of us, man. We're tight. We're family. Time out. I want to remind some of you, because some of you weren't paying attention, like you're not right now. You're drawing Mickey Mouse or whatever you're doing. You're not paying attention at all. There was a civil war going on. For 7 years, these same people were trying to kill him. Now here they come saying, oh, David, we always loved you. We always wanted you to be king. And you know what he could have said? What are you talking about? Where were you the past 7 years? You were going to battle against my men. Now you're trying to pretend like none of that happened. Now you're trying to pretend like we're cool and you always wanted me to be king. Man, you're fake. You're phony. Off with his head. Off with his head. Off. I've never liked you. Off with that guy's head. He didn't do any of that. In order for a great moment to happen, he had to let go of some stuff. He had to forgive and pretend like nothing happened. You ever have somebody do that to you? Where they like totally wronged you, they did something really messed up to you, and then they try to pretend like nothing happened? And what do you do in that moment? I have a hard time with that. I'm often like, man, get out of here. What are you acting like nothing happened, you know? I remember what happened. I don't remember what you did, you know? David let it go. And in order to have those great moments, sometimes you have to let some stuff go. You have to let some stuff go. Some of you tonight, if we're being honest, you are hanging on to some stuff. You are hanging on to it and you refuse to let it go. It has become part of your identity. And ironically, it is keeping you from great moments. You are not going to have great moments because you are hanging on to this and you refuse to let it go. These people came to him and said, we've always wanted you king. And he said, put it there, man. Sounds good to me. When he could have said, liar, traitor, you've been fighting with me for 7 years. Why are you barely coming to me now? I've been in Hebron for the past 7 years and you were following Ishbosheth. Bunch of two-faced fakes. He didn't do any of that. He said, okay. I've been waiting for this moment. Sounds good to me. Man, some of you could have such great moments. You could have such great times with your family. Your home could be a happy place. Instead of you being the terror who hides in their room, you're like the ogre underneath the bridge, you know? You're like, oh, don't mess with her. Don't go by his room. He's a raging volcano. He's going to blow up, you know? He's going to freak out about something. Why? You are messing up these good times. You know, one day you're going to be 41. It's going to happen just like that. I'm never going to be 41. Yeah, you will, because I was your age. I have pictures to prove it. And it goes by fast. And you're going to look back and go, man, my days with my family, they weren't that good. And now mom's in heaven. Dad has dementia or dad's gone or whatever. I wish I could get those days back and I could do things over. But you can't. So right now, while you're in it, do things right. Do things right. You want those happy days like David had? You're going to have to let go of some stuff. Let it go. Just let it go. Sound like Elsa up here. Why is it part of your identity? Why must you hang on to this? Why do you refuse to let it go? Just let it go. David had a great moment because he let some stuff go. What else? David, man, he saw the big picture. When you come to David and you say, David, you're going to be king for 40 years. That's a long time. Being king for 40 years. And for 7 of those years, yes, you'll just have Judah in Hebron. But for 33 of them, you'll have the whole kingdom. And you'll be considered the greatest king that ever lived for this country. I mean, you are going to be the man. Every king will be compared to you. You'd say, wow, that sounds good. That's a great reign, right? Yeah, but if you also said, hey, you're going to get anointed at 17, your boss/father-in-law is going to try to kill you for about 10 years, and he's going to get really close a couple times. His daughter, who's going to be your wife, is going to turn out to be some witch, and you're going to have to hide in caves and hide in woods and hide in forests and hide with the Philistines, and it's going to be an uphill battle. You'd say, oh, that doesn't sound good at all. It sounds terrible. There's always two ways to look at your life. Always, 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 always 2 ways, okay? There's the good and there's the bad. And no matter how bad your life gets, there is always good in your life. Always. And no matter how good the days get, they're never perfect. There's always something to complain about and gripe about. And right now, some of you in here tonight, when you look at your life, all you see is the bad. You don't see the good. You're missing all the good. You're missing all the things that the Lord is doing in your life. He's in your life daily. He is daily walking with you. And you can't even see it because all you see is the negative and the bad. Am I saying the negative's not there? Am I saying the bad's not there? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're missing the good. It's staring at you in the face and you're missing it. You're missing God's fingerprints all over your life. He's all over your life. He wants you to see him. He wants you to find him. And you can't because all you see is the bad. All you see is the imperfection. And listen, I know it's imperfect. I know it's not perfect and there's a lot of negative and there's a lot of things you can point at. Why don't you start looking at the good? Look at the good in your life, the things that God has done, and realize that you are truly blessed. I don't know who has the worst life in here, but somebody does, right? Somebody's got the worst life in here. I don't know who it is. Maybe we should have you come up and just compare, right? Tell horror stories. Someone's got the worst life in here. Whoever you are, and I don't know who that is, even you have some pretty great things in your life. If you'll just see it. If you'll just see it. Again, even the person with the best life in here has bad things they could look at. David also did something. In verse number 6, he goes to a brand new place called Jerusalem. Now, if you look at Israel, throughout history, they are synonymous with one place. That is Jerusalem. True, they don't own the whole city right now. The Muslims have most of that city today, including the Temple Mount. It is what it is. But Jerusalem is still partly in the hands of Israel, and it has been it's always been associated with them. That started with David. Before David, There was no Jerusalem, not with Israel. It belonged to the Jebusites. Saul's capital was not Jerusalem. Saul had a different capital. And David, when he was first king, his capital was Hebron. There were other great cities like Shiloh. That's where Samuel came from. There was a lot of other places. Bethel, that's where Jacob first saw the angel. There was no Jerusalem. They had other great cities. David, though, had a vision, and David had goals. If you're going to be happy, really, if you're going to be successful, you got to set some goals. Set some goals for your life. What are some of these goals? Now listen, I know we all have the same goal. We're trying to lose weight. Some of you don't need to lose weight. I do. Thanksgiving just passed. Okay, nothing wrong with that goal. I have the same goal. Will I do it? We'll see. Diet starts Monday. We'll see what happens. Set some goals for your life. What are your goals in your life? What are you planning to achieve? What are you planning to get done? Do you have some goals? This is church. I'm a pastor. Set some spiritual goals. I know you have goals with your fitness. You have goals with making money. Some of you are going to be bazillionaires one day. Sure. Some of you are going to be, I don't know, you're going to play professional sports. Some of you, I don't know, you just want to get out of high school, right? Fine. All great. Set some spiritual goals. What are your spiritual goals? Do you have any spiritual goals? Well, what could I possibly set for a spiritual goal? I'm glad you asked. There are some spiritual goals that you could set. As far as Bible reading, as far as praying. We have a youth conference in January. Maybe some of you should set a goal to come to that. We'll talk about that as it gets a little bit closer. Set you some goals. David had some goals that he had set, and he was able to achieve those goals. He conquered Jerusalem, and that was a big deal. Man, God is just blessing David. So many things are happening left and right. Last point, we'll end with this. In verse number 17, the Philistines come to David, and they heard that he became king. Why is that a big deal? Well, those of you that have been paying attention, you will remember in 1 Samuel, David lived with the Philistines for a little while. Remember that? Remember he was one of the favorites of the king over there? And he was going to go to battle with them. I don't know what David would have done if he'd gone to battle. I'm not really sure. God protected him, though, and he didn't actually go to battle. But he still kind of lied to the king and go, let me go with you. You will see what your servant can do. You know, what have I done? I've served you faithfully. And so the Philistine king kind of liked David. And so all these Philistines here, David is king now. And a lot of them said, that guy, I knew it. I knew he was a mole the whole time. The entire time he was a spy. I knew it. We're taking that guy out. So they all showed up. They all wanted a piece of David at that time. Now the Philistines were fierce fighters, fierce warriors. You didn't really want them showing up on your doorstep, you know? You didn't want them knocking on your door. These people were crazy. These people were wild. They were fighters. You know, sometimes you got some battles in your life. Some of you have a battle right now that you are fighting. There is a battle going on in your life right now. David, in his battles, was victorious. He whooped up on these Philistines, whooped them multiple times. He won the battles in his life. It'd be kind of nice for you to win your battles, wouldn't it? Aren't you tired of losing your battles? Aren't you tired of constantly losing? Aren't you tired of constantly getting in trouble? Aren't you tired of constantly having bad days? Aren't you tired of constantly being depressed and anxious and blah, and blah, and blah? It'd be kind of nice to get a victory, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be kind of nice? How was David able to get victories? How was he able to win and beat his enemies? Well, he does something really interesting here. In verse number 19, he inquires of the Lord, saying, shall I go up to the Philistines? Before he ever went to battle, he asked God and said, God, should I do this? Now, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. Should I go fight against the enemies of you? I mean, isn't that an obvious thing? I always get on my nerves whenever I say to someone, hey, you're going to be at church tomorrow. And they'll say, if the Lord wills. And I always say, God wills it. It's not about God willing it. It's if you will it, you know? Do you will it? God wants you there. That's already been settled, okay? That's in the Bible. There's certain things we don't need to ask God about. God, should I get up and should I read my Bible today? Yes, you don't have to ask him that. Keep your stupid questions to yourself. But there's a lot of other things we should be asking God about. And frankly, we don't. We don't. We just decide and we go through our day. Myself included. Here's what you should try. You say, I want to win some of my battles. Good. Here's what you do tomorrow morning. Get up, and when your feet hit the floor, you say, Lord, would you please guide me today through my day? And I want to make my decisions based on what you want me to do. Simple as that. Amen. And go throughout your day. Let the Lord start to guide in your day. When you say, should I go right or should I go left? Ask him. Should you go right? Should you go left? Panda Express or Taco Bell? I mean, if you have to ask that, come on, that's kind of an obvious question, right? Which one is it? I'm not going to tell you. I'll keep it to myself. But anyway, ask God about stuff. Inquire of him. Lord, what would you have me do? We are going through our lives. We're going through our days. We're not asking God anything. We're deciding what we're going to do. And then after we do it, we say, hey, you mind if you stamp your approval on this? This is what I have already decided to do. Isn't it cool if you're just cool with that? Stop doing that. Stop deciding you're going to do things your way and then trying to get God to put his stamp on it. If it's against his will, he's not going to put his stamp on it. And you will not be blessed. It's not going to end well for you. So ask him, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? Do you want me to do this or do you want me to do that? Should I work here or should I work there? Let me see, what kind of environment is this? Are they going to keep me out of church? What kind of people are there? We got to ask the Lord about certain things. Let him guide you. David asked him, what would you have me do? And sometimes it was not so obvious. God told him, go up. But in verse 23, God told him, don't go up. David asked, hey, Lord, should I go up? He had just beaten them in battle. It seems kind of redundant. Why am I asking? He just told me yes yesterday, and I won. Why am I going to ask again? But he did. And this time God said, don't go up. He gives him another plan. God was guiding every step of the way. You have a lot of fights on your hands. You have a lot of battles, and you want to win. One of the things David did, he inquired of the Lord. He made it a part of his day. Would you ask God what you should do on the daily? Would you ask God what you should do with your life? Some of you are getting older, seniors. Some of you are out of high school already, young adults. You're kind of asking God, I'm working this job, but I know this is not what I'm going to do the rest of my life. With this person or I'm not dating or whatever. Like, what do you have for me long term? Where am I going to work forever? All right, now I'm punching the clock here, but what's the big plan? Who is the big plan with? Where am I supposed to go? Start to ask God to guide you big time. And again, that's more for maybe some of you older ones. Being honest, some of you older ones don't want to ask that because you're afraid what he'll say because you've already decided this is what I want to do. What's that? That's not inquiring of the Lord. That's you deciding what you're going to do and saying, God, put your stamp of approval on it. There is no reason to be afraid of what God would tell you. He knows what will make you happier more than you do. You don't think God wants you to have a blessed life? Of course he does. So why don't we trust him? Why don't we ask him? Why are we afraid? Because we've had these dreams. I want it to go this way. Maybe what you want, he is wanting for you too. We were taught in college, God puts things in our hearts sometimes. That's why we want it. Or maybe he has something else for you. But leave the choice up to him, and you won't regret it. Do you learn anything for tonight? I thank you, Lord, for these young people. I pray, God, you would just help us, Lord, as we continue through the life of David. I pray, God, we'd learn some lessons from this great man, this very human man. There were some moments where he didn't have such great moments. But man, this is one of the great moments. What a time of victory. If only all of David could have been like 2 Samuel chapter 5. Talk about victory, and what an example of how to do it. I pray, God, we would take these lessons and apply them into our lives. That way we could have our moment in the sun of victory. Not because we fought for it, but because we waited on you and you brought it to us. We'll give you the praise and glory for it. In your name I pray, amen.